Hello everyone, welcome back. From today we are going to start a course called Essential SQL. Now, what is Essential SQL is I will not teach everything about SQL, but what I believe is essential for beginners and intermediate people for um, taking a step into the field of SQL or data analysis. Now, there will be a lot of questions before beginning the course, so I will address a few questions, and from next video onwards, we'll start the tutorials. So let's move to the commonly asked questions before the course. The first question would be, what is SQL? SQL, Structured Query Language, or SQL in some cases, it is a programming language which is used to communicate with databases, wherein you can ask the databases to provide certain data or feed some additional data into the databases. Before extracting the data, you can make some manipulation, etc. It also helps organizations maintain large data sets in a centralized location, which is known as server, and it is easily accessible by multiple users because it's not hosted at a personal computer. And then these servers also are like heavily configured to be able to store large data sets, and they can be accessed easily. They usually also have backups to ensure that if a server goes down, the data is still not lost or not accessible, and it also doesn't take space on your own computers. Now, definitely to talk to these databases, we need some application and a language. The application would be a lot of SQL based applications, and the language usually is SQL. There are multiple versions of SQL which are being used based on the databases, but essentially the syntax remain more or less the same. Another thing is these databases have better data handling capability than Excel, and the results can be shared much faster. Moving to the next question, why should I learn SQL? This is the biggest question people will ask after they know what is SQL. The answer would be like in multiple points. First and foremost, as I said, the size of data is growing rapidly, and it becomes very difficult to maintain it and share across different teams from a single source. Especially, let's say, if I am maintaining all the data in my computer, and if I'm not available, my computer is not available, the data is not accessible. The best way would be to store in a database, access it from there, and also it doesn't take up a lot of space on my system, rendering it um, slow. Next is Excel versus SQL. A lot of people believe SQL to be alternative to Excel, better than Excel, but I would not say that. I would say that while Excel is very useful, SQL adds to the performance of Excel or complements to certain things that SQL does better than Excel. But when they both come together, it actually builds a powerful tool pack for yourself. Now, Excel is built for a separate functionality to process certain amount of data, do some basic reporting with the graphs and all. But the purpose of SQL is purely to store and retrieve data. So SQL has adds to the performance of Excel. You retrieve the data. It can do a lot of filtering calculations before exporting it to Excel, so that Excel doesn't need to actually go through millions of rows of data and then you filter it out. It's better you do with SQL and move it to Excel and then do the post processing from there. That way both complement each other and your overall reporting structure or analytic structure improves. Now, another reason for SQL to learn SQL would be that the competition in market is growing significantly. And nowadays, everybody is looking for blended roles where people would want someone to be able to fetch the data from database and do Excel reporting at the same time rather than one person retrieving the data for you, somebody else doing the reporting for you. So that's where you will get that edge. And this also helps reduce dependency on someone else to provide data, and you will not really have to wait for anything. If you need any kind of data for any ad hoc requests, any quick data lookup and all, you can always use SQL to look into the database and get your questions answered right away. And moreover, this will also give you edge in the team, because though SQL is very popular, a lot of people don't know SQL very well. Next question is SQL easy? Now the answer would be a yes and no, but for me it's a big yes. It is as easy as writing a simple English to ask for the provide data, and it's in a predefined way of writing which is called a syntax. There are a very few keywords that are used in SQL compared to many other programming languages, and it is much easier than learning other programming languages which are used for software development, etc., because there are a lot of syntaxes and other things going on. It doesn't require hardcore coding for application development. So yes, it's fairly very easy. uh, Next question, is SQL still in demand? SQL has been in demand, is in demand, and will remain in demand, because as long as we have the concept of databases, SQL will be the way to query them, and it will always remain in demand. So it is a must learn skill in today's date. What do I need to know before I start? Now, this is an interesting question because let's say you don't know SQL at all. This course will help you learn from beginner to intermediate level. Let's say you are already at an advanced level of SQL. You may or may not find it useful because I will be covering from very scratch. Basic understanding of Excel in this case could be helpful, but not a mandate, because we speak in some similar terms. So knowing Excel makes it easier to learn SQL and help learn faster. But apart from that, there is no other prerequisite. Yes, one major prerequisite always from my side would be intent to learn. You might need to have patience. Next thing is practice, practice, practice. If you do that, definitely you will be able to learn. Next question, does it cover everything about SQL? Answer is a plain simple no. I am not going to cover everything about SQL because SQL is used by data analysts, uh, SQL developers, etc. So what I am going to do is it's plainly for the analysts, for primarily again retrieving data from databases, because a lot of the analysts don't even have a right access to database to uh, ensure the data integrity of the data is not lost. And developers also use the advanced concepts of functions, triggers, stored procedures, etc., which won't be covered here. So if you're looking for something like that, it is not a course for you. What topics are covered in the course? Obviously, people would want to know an outline. So this course is specially designed for anyone who's looking to start learning SQL, improve their basic knowledge of SQL to go to the intermediate or slightly advanced level, advance in their career with the help of SQL. We will have all the essential topics covered. I will also try to put up some FAQs for interviews and also help to implement things in your day-to-day job for a better future. And yes, but practice is a must. I will not put up long videos discussing 10 topics in a single video. We'll go one at a time so that you have sufficient time even to practice. You can ask questions, you can go over them. Now, what all topics will be covered, I'll quickly go through some few topics that we'll be discussing. Is first, installing a tool, setting up your first basic database which is publicly available. Then we'll discuss what are data types, constraints, operators, different commands that we use, certain basic functions that are that we are using in SQL, some advanced concepts like subqueries, unions, joins, etc. Then we will go through some practice and interview prep questions so that you also have some hands-on practice at advanced level of querying, which is not going to be like very simple. So at the end of course, you should be able to, okay, I'll cover that in the next question. What will I be able to do by the end of the course? So by the end of this course, you will be able to write slightly fairly advanced queries, read and understand queries written by others, and modify them according to the need. And then you will also gain confidence to query any kind of databases. You will start understanding how to make certain changes, how to search for answers to my questions, and more importantly, you will start thinking in an SQL way so that you know how to query a certain database. But as I said, I'm repeating this multiple times. Practice is a must here. Next question, how much time will it take to learn and master SQL? That's completely dependent on you. So as long as you follow the curriculum, practice, learn, and maintain the consistency. Another important thing, you will be able to learn it much faster than taking a long breaks, restarting again and again, not practicing, just going through videos or some basic tutorials is not going to help. And try to take up challenging questions, try to get answers to them. There is not a single way to solve many questions. There could be multiple ways, and as long as you are getting the right answer in a fairly good amount of time, that answer is right. So mastering, I will not give a timeline in a definitive manner, but yes, you can learn it fairly faster than many programming languages. The next question would be, how will it help in my career? I think this is the most commonly asked question, most important question people ask everyone. Definitely at the end of this course you should be able to answer a lot of questions in interviews. Even practical answer questions can be answered fairly faster, and you will have better knowledge. How will it help in your career? So let's say you're working in a role where SQL uh, can add to the uh, current role expansion. This is going to help. Let's say you want to transition into a certain role that requires SQL, this will help you. And if you want to make a switch wherein you're going from completely like non-analyst background to an analyst background, this is also going to help you. You can go to any job portal and search for analyst. SQL has become one of the must language. So definitely if you learn it from anywhere, this is going to help you. So yes, SQL is going to help you in your career. That's all in this video. From next video onwards, we'll start the basics of SQL and take it from there. Thank you.